What a fabulous Friday evening it is out there at the Jalan Besar Stadium as we kick off match day 29 of the Singapore Premier League. And we are starting the weekend with a bang. The Eastern Derby between Geylang International and BG Tampines Rovers. But this is a rivalry that is never short on drama. Are we going to see more fireworks tonight? Well, this is just the start of the weekend action. Tomorrow night, it's a double-header. Hougang United, they host Albirex Niigata, who'll be looking to put a stop to a three-match losing streak across all competitions. Balestier Khalsa, meanwhile, will welcome Tanjong Pagar United to the Bishan Stadium. Then on Sunday, the Young Lions, who are fresh off a stunning 7-1 win of Albirex in the Singapore Cup, they go head-to-head with the league leaders, the Lion City Sailors. Let's take a quick look at the table heading into the weekend then. It's the Sailors still in the driver's seat, 58 points from 24 games, and they have a game in hand over BG Tampines Rovers, who are second on 51 points. Geylang International, they sit third, 7 points behind BG Tampines, but still very much in the conversation. Albirex Niigata, well, they've had a mixed campaign, haven't they? Plenty of wins, but just as many losses. Balestier, Hougang and DPMM are jostling in mid-table, while the Young Lions are just 1 point off DPMM with a game in hand. And down at the bottom, it's been a tough run for Tanjong Pagar United, who sit last with just 12 points from 24 games. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Colette Wong, together with Rish Roshan Rai, former SPL player, here in the SPL studio, building up to what a cracker of game this is going to be. It is the Eastern Derby clash between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. When we talk about derbies, we often talk about a huge rivalry between two sides. Yep. And you as a former player, I'm sure you've played in many derbies, big matches they are. How different are these games? And especially for the players who'll be walking out of the tunnel very, very soon, they're going to feel massive butterflies in their stomach, won't they?
I think there is a difference when you play in these sorts of matches. You know, I played for Singapore Armed Forces, played for Home United against, each other, and played against Tampines Rovers, Albirex and the like. And, it's big because, there is that little bit of a rivalry there. You know these players, you know how good they are, you know how good your team is. So, it's always a test and a chance to come up against each other, especially when you come towards the closing stages of the season, when there's potentially, a title to play for with BG Tampines. If they win, perhaps they can keep some pressure on the Lion City Sailors. And also there's that race for second spot. I think that's an important one, because Geylang haven't had the best of times against their great rivals. This is the longest running derby in the Singapore professional era. So it is a match that absolutely matters. And, so I'm hoping to see a really good game of football this evening. And
it's great for the fans out here at the Jalan Besar Stadium as well. For the teams, it's even better when you're in a good run of form, as BG Tampines Rovers are. They're through to the semi-finals of the Singapore Cup. Just one defeat in the SPL in their last 5. This is exactly the kind of momentum Gavin Lee is looking for, isn't it, as he comes into an Eastern Derby clash like this?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at that run of form there, 3 straight wins, and also the scoring goals. 4-0 win against Albirex, 4-1 against the Young Lions, scored 5 against Hougang. They're not conceding too many as well. There was also that 1-0 win on the 23rd of last month, or February rather. I forget, I've lost track of time.
Oh yeah,
we're in April already, right? Yeah, so it is a good run of form that they're in. It's going well for BG Tampines at the moment, into the semi-finals of the Singapore Cup as well, second spot in the table. So it is looking good. Confidence always helps when you're playing, and I think it's especially going to help when you come into a big match like this.
Yeah, and every point is going to matter for BG Tampines Rovers, because as you said, they are still in the hunt for the title, albeit they are quite far behind Lion City Sailors. And we saw the run of results just there. There was one red box, and that was their defeat, match day 27 to the Lion City Sailors, which effectively put paid to their hopes of winning the title this season. I'm not saying it's over, but it is a lot more difficult. What happened there for Tampines against the LCS then?
This result was a big blow, and I just feel like Tampines didn't come out and play the usual game in this one. They weren't at their best. I don't know whether it was a few nerves, whether it was a little bit of fear, but they weren't quite at the races in this one. Having said that, they had a couple of really good chances here that they were able to create, but they weren't so dominant in this match. And they're one of the few sides in the league who actually caused problems have the capacity to cause problems for the Lion City Sailors, to give them a big test. We've seen it in their matches against them. this season already. When they are playing in the usual game, they can cause issues, but they just weren't really there on that evening. Neither were the Lion City Sailors, to be fair. In fact, this was a very poor game of football. And I normally really look forward to games between these sides, but this was really a game of low quality. I wonder if there was just a little bit too much riding on it, in the sense that BG Tampines went into it knowing that they had to come away with the win, whereas for the Sailors it was, if we come away with a point, it's still fine because we've got a huge advantage. And instead, in the end, it was them who came away with all three.
Well, that was just a 1-0 scoreline. Usually when BG Tampines and Geylang International meet, it's goals galore. Yeah. But let's not forget, BG Tampines have recently added a defender at the back who shored up their defense, Dylan Fox. He was named man of the match in their last game in the Singapore Cup against Hougang United, which BG Tampines won 5-1. Let me just ask you, what are your impressions of Dylan Fox since he's joined them?
Yeah, I think he's been a smart signing by the club. You know, with Kyoga Nakamura receiving Singapore citizenship, that means they have a foreign slot, additional foreign slot open, and they decided to bring in someone in defence to help them shore up in that department. And he's made a good contribution so far. You know, he's been a key player since he's come into the side. He's had experience playing in Australia in the A-League. He's played in India as well, and had a season in Finnish football. And coming into BG Tampines, he's made a decent contribution, getting on the score sheet as well. So he can be a threat from those set pieces. And you know what it does as well from a tactical perspective is when he comes in, then you've got Milos Zlatkovic, who can play a little bit out more on the left-hand side as that left back and can bomb forward from those positions. He can also push into central midfield areas. So Fox coming in not only helps them in terms of having a very strong presence in central defence, but tactically it gives Gavin that little bit of a scope, a chance to move certain players around, and just perfect, right on cue. We get Zlatkovic in the picture there, the number 33. He's another player that I really love, really enjoy watching. He's got that capacity to carry the ball forward through the lines, sweet left foot, picking those diagonals and getting forward and contributing to Tampines' game in possession. So now knowing that he's got that security of having Fox and Yamashita in central defence, providing a bit more stability.
Well, just on Zlatkovic, I saw an interesting statement about him. I think he scored 6 goals already in the SPL this season, which makes him the highest scoring defender. How much of a game changer is it to have a goal scoring defender on your team? Because it also makes the other team think very carefully, especially when it comes to set pieces.
Yeah, I know it's obviously 11 against 11, but when you think about it from a perspective of where players are positioned in different phases of the game, he gives you that opportunity to put an extra player somewhere to overload in a different area of the pitch, which means that if he's carrying the ball out from defense, then he can push into midfield. And normally if it's 3 against 3, for example, in central midfield, Zlatkovic can come in from a deeper position and make it 4 against 3, for example. And then as the opposition, you've got to figure out who tracks Zlatkovic's run from deep. Is it another attacker who drops with him, or do you pass him on to another player? That's when that communication has to come about, because when defenses get overloaded, that's when they start to have a few doubts, and that's where the question marks come in, because then they're either needing to talk to each other to cover that player coming into a different area, cover positions correctly. So that's where you can actually create advantages against the opposition. And having a player who has that technical capacity with the ball to be able to carry it forward, to either shoot or to just play passes, or to just be an extra body in the possession there, it's, in those areas, really helps.
I feel like you're a big fan of Milos Zlatkovic. Yes, I can tell. All right, let's take a look at the starting 11 for BG Tampines Rovers. We know Zlatkovic is making a start. Take a look at this. What do you make of Gavin Lee's selection today?
Yeah, I really like it. It's really strong. It's a very, very strong lineup. You've got the 2 controllers in central midfield, in Kyoga Nakamura and Shah Shahiran in those positions. Very good with the ball at their feet. Also gives Tampines that base in which to build in their possession game. Seya Kunori, I enjoy watching him play as well. He's such an intelligent footballer in between the lines, and he links up with his teammates really well, and he's got that license to roam into advanced attacking areas. And then they've got the pace out in the wider positions with Glenn Quay and Faris Ramli. So it's a very nicely balanced side. To me, you know, it's a side that looks really good in terms of the positions of the players, in terms of what they have. And it's really strong, and it helps that he's also got a nice bench here. I mean, there's experience with Yase Hanapi, Arya Igami adds energy, Taufik Suparno adds speed. Joel Chu is in there. He gives them that creative element if they have difficulty breaking down a deep defensive block or just want to have a different sort of profile coming in. So he's got a really good squad there, Gavin, to work with, I think, this season. Very nicely balanced, and he's been able to get some really good results out of them.
Yeah, so they'll be going into this match full of confidence against Geylang International, who unfortunately are going through a little bit of a slump at the moment. Unlike the Sailors, unlike Tampines, Geylang, they have lost 3 straight in all competitions. Now, Noor Ali often says that he has a very, very thin squad and he cannot rotate properly, but is that the only reason for the dip in form?
He doesn't have much quality to come in off the bench, that is true, but I feel like we've been talking about this with Geylang for the last few seasons now, and nothing's really changed, right, in terms of their squad makeup, in terms of the squad build, and having players who can come in and he can rotate and still maintain a certain level of quality. Geylang, I feel, like one of those sides where if you ask people who follow the league, what is their lineup this weekend going to be? It'll probably be quite straightforward. you know which of those 11 players are going to come out when they're all fit. So he has perhaps a very strong 12 or 13, and then after that it starts to just drop a little bit in terms of the quality. But also, I mean, even when he does play their strongest 11, there are some question marks about the defensive work in that side. They've been poor at times defensively in a few games. They're great to watch on the ball, wonderful to watch in possession. They've got the good structures in place. They're very nice to watch when they have the ball. Without it, though, they have a few issues. They get caught out in counter-attacking situations. We're having a look at them against the Lion City Sailors. Longer balls over the top, a lack of communication in that defensive line. You've also got a young centre-back in there in Haria, who I really like, but as a young player, you will make mistakes in those positions, especially over a long season. So, when you look at their situation this campaign, they've put in some really good performances. They just haven't been able to maintain that consistency enough to really push for the title. But is that something we expected from Geylang International this season? I don't think so. I think third was about where we expected them to be. So when you actually look at it overall and what they've done so far, to be in third place with a chance at finishing second, I think is actually a very strong campaign for Geylang.
Yes.
Of course, when you look at 2025, they've only won 2 games. That is concerning. And when you think of where they can improve to potentially become one of the sides that does challenge for the title, does become a serious title challenger, then I feel that they need to look at building that squad overall so that there isn't that much of a dip in quality when players are out injured or suspended or need to come in or Noor Ali needs to rotate. So that is something that they need to look at. But in terms of what they have done this season, I think they've done a good job. I don't think it's doom and gloom at all. Not been a great start to 2025, but overall picture is still pretty rosy. So
Geylang International definitely punching above their weight in the 2024-2025 season. Let's take a look at the lineup. And as Roshan mentioned, you probably no prizes for guessing who is starting today. Anything surprising pop up when you look at this?
No, not really. Again, you would have guessed this. Aside from the fact that maybe Akmal Azman is in there because Joshua Pereira is out injured. Otherwise, it would be the number 8, Joshua Pereira, in that right back position. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. Haria in central defense, along with Rio Sakuma, Shake Hamza at left back. Taniguchi in one of those attacking positions, Bezakor in attacking midfield, and then you got Tezuka controlling things for them in central midfield alongside Huzaifa. So it's a pretty straightforward sort of lineup. Again, pretty predictable in that sense. And of course, they've got the hitman up front, Tomiyuki Doi, on his 39 goals this season in the Singapore Premier League. He's always going to be a threat, even if he can be quiet at times in games, but he's still got that moment of magic in him. And then you look at the bench here. I mean, this is where you start to see the differences between Geylang and BG Tampines in terms of the build-up of their squad. Look at that, and you probably only say Iqbal Hussein and maybe Zico Swa at a stretch would be players who are capable of coming in and making a real serious impact in an attacking sense. Otherwise, it is a bit of an issue. They've got young players in there on the bench as well, 3 of them with those large numbers. In the squad, 3 teenagers, 18-year-old Shafi Suhaimi, 19-year-old Raya Noor, and 17-year-old Prince Rio Rifai, who's a bit of a talent. But again, it just goes to show you just how difficult it's been in terms of their overall squad structure for this campaign.
Well, there might be a diamond in the rough out there as Geylang International prepare to face BG Tampines Rovers in this Eastern Derby. Derby. It is live at the Jalan Besar Stadium. We're going to take a very quick break, but we still have plenty more to talk about. We'll be breaking down the key matchups, and we'll also hear from both camps in the pre-match interviews. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, not long to go before kickoff at the Jalan Besar Stadium for the Eastern Derby between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. It's the final Eastern Derby of the 2024-2025 season, and this one is set to be an absolute cracker. A big night ahead, second place still up for grabs. Obviously, both these teams looking to make a statement. Now, we've heard the build-up to this one. Let's hear from the men in charge. Let's get the thoughts of the two coaches who we spoke to a few minutes ago.
Hi Coach, your team come into this on a decent run of form. How do you maintain consistency and momentum going into a crucial match like this?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we just got to remind ourselves of what we want to accomplish as a group, as a squad, as a club. And then until we achieve what we want, then we can never stop. You know, we can never be comfortable. We just got to maintain as much as possible the standards that we have set for ourselves, and we know that the standards will get us there.
Your side has a strong record against Geylang, including that 3-0 win in the last outing. How does that influence how you approach tonight's clash?
Yeah, something we spoke about within the staff. I think the last time we played them seems centuries ago. You know, so to be honest, what has happened has no influence on how we're setting up today, because 2025 you have some new players, you have some new setups, and again it's about how we're going to play Geylang based on how they've performed and what they've been trying to do in the last few games.
Given Geylang's unpredictable form this season, how have you prepared to counter that?
Again, it goes back to us and the standards that we set for ourselves and the levels that we want to try to accomplish. And if we can do that, then you know we know that we have a better chance for getting the desired results.
Hi Coach, it has been a disappointing past couple of weeks for you. How are you keeping the squad motivated for this Eastern Derby?
I think the boys know they should be motivated. You know, every derby game is interesting to play. I think that's the motivation for the boys. You know, of course, it has been quite a lot of disappointment in terms of the cup not qualifying, and also not for us. We have not started well in 2025. You know, I think besides whatever target we have right now, I think it's important to get back into good performance and start into winning ways again. Yeah.
We know the threat Tampines carries. How do you plan to counter that today?
I mean, the boys got to go on and play a strong 90 minutes with this kind of team, because we know what kind of, Tampines have the quality of Igami coming in, they have a few quality players on the bench. So I think that's important. It's a 90-minute game. I think that's something that we need to focus on because we know what kind of threat Tampines can give attackingly, and they're a very good ball possession team, which is something that we cannot give them time on the ball today, So, of course, we have worked certain things in training, and let's see, hopefully it works for us tonight. Yeah.
Second place is still very much in reach. Is it fair to say that that's still very much your target in this final stretch?
I mean, at this point of time, I don't want to even talk about a second place. I think what's important for us is to get back to momentum again because I think, of course, every team is going to have their bad moments during the season. I think we have started well last season till the end of the year, but we have not started well since 2025. I think something that we need to focus on a bit on performance, go back to basic, and sometimes get things right again, and hopefully the result will go our way.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to Noor Ali there, and you really do feel for him because they have really given it their all, and third place seems to be where as high as they can possibly go. But I wanted to ask you about players that you have highlighted and you think will be key, absolutely key to this game. Tell us about them.
Yeah, I think one of them is going to be Keto Haria, who's going to be important for Geylang International, in this one in terms of his contribution at the back. He's 21. I think he's had a very solid season overall for a young central defender. The problem with him is he's sometimes prone to a few defensive mistakes, a few errors, which is completely understandable for a player who is that young.
Yeah.
The other player that I would probably look at as well is Ryoya Taniguchi, who is, to me, I think has had a very strong season. Tezuka has been super for Geylang in central midfield, and he's going to be important for them with his ability to control the tempo of matches in the middle of the park. Taniguchi as well, to me, I mean, his 10 goals and 17 assists. I think he's having another very solid campaign, and he's always looking for Tomoyuki Doi. I feel like I want to mention almost everyone in that Geylang midfield because Besar has been brilliant for them as well. I mean, it's incredible. You ask me, what are one or two players to pick out? It's just so difficult because it's a team game. But yeah, those are just a few of the players to obviously keep an eye on.
Okay, final question. I feel as if Geylang are going into this as the underdogs. They really have nothing to lose. They're out of the Singapore Cup. They can go out there and really cause some damage, couldn't they, to Tampines?
Yeah, they absolutely could, and I hope they do. I hope they put in a strong performance here. They're out of the Singapore Cup now. The performance in that competition wasn't the best. It was poor. They were in a tough group, but you expected them to potentially finish third in that one if they possibly could. So yeah, now that's done and dusted, they've only got the league to focus on and try and give it a big push towards the end of the campaign, try and make sure they secure third, which would be their best finish for a long time, I think since 2003 or something like that. So yeah, that is a big sort of motivation, big source of motivation for them to try and finish as high as they can and maybe do some damage to BG Tampines as well and potentially go up to second place.
Well, the atmosphere out there in the Jalan Besar Stadium is absolutely electric as the fans await the players to walk out for this one. It's the Eastern Derby between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. It's a battle for second spot in the Singapore Premier League. We're going for a quick break. Don't go away. Get your popcorn ready. Kickoff is coming up next.
warm welcome to you here at Jalan Besar Stadium. It is the Eastern Derby this evening here in the Singapore Premier League. We return to league action as BG Tampines Rovers take on Geylang International. Pride at stake in the east of the country. It somehow seems to conjure up these stark emotions, these two clubs that normally share a stadium, of course, at our Tampines Hub, which is undergoing some serious work in time for next season. So they are playing here at Jalan Besar Stadium for this campaign. And who will take home those bragging rights at the end of play today? Two teams with perhaps contrasting fortunes in recent weeks, but there is just one place between them in the league table. 7 points though separate Geylang International behind Tampines, BG Tampines Rovers. A win here reignites their faltering campaign to try and finish as high as second, a feat they have not achieved in a long, long time. And they would dearly love to do it today and put one over their big rivals. BG Tampines Rovers, they know that the league title, well, that race may have already been run. 7 points behind Lion City Sailors with a game more played. Farhad Mohammed will be in charge of this one, assisted by J. Ashok Raj and Justin Chow. Zulfikar Mustafa is the fourth official. All four of them, I'm sure, will be feeling the heat tonight. VAR often comes under plenty of scrutiny. Mohamed Taki is that official there, and he is assisted today by Huang Xin-Jie. Assisting me very much at the forefront as well of things, Shasi Kumar here in the commentary. And Shasi, we look at this starting 11 for BG Tampines Rovers. They make two changes from the side that thrashed Hougang United last week in the Cup. They've dropped two in Singapore internationals, in Joel Chu and Irfan Najib, and they've brought in two Singapore internationals, and Amrul Adli and Faris Ramli. It's a strong 11, isn't it?
Yeah, not too bad, those two substitutions or replacements in Faris Ramli and Amirul Adli, and those are the substitutes for you. But listen, it's a strong lineup, and apart from that lineup, obviously they've got some great reserves and substitutes on the bench as well, and that is Gavin Lee, and obviously after his stint with the national team as well, coming back, and you know, they are in good form, BG Tampines, you know, and I think it's going to be a difficult task for Geylang, who hasn't really started the year in good nick.
Well, this is the 11 for Geylang International. Just the one change after that chasing defeat, 3-1 Lion City Sailors, and it's Huzaifa Aziz who comes in for Saiful Akbar, who cannot play against his parent club, of course, on loan from BG Tampines Rovers. They would have probably quite liked to have had him in the mix somewhere, if not in the starting 11. We know, Shasi, as has been discussed in our studio show beforehand, that Noor Ali here would dearly like that depth to be able to call on some players. I think Roshan had pinpointed Iqbal Hussain and Zikos Chua in terms of at least going forward. You've got Ahmad Shahir, who's a bit experienced. After that, then you're looking at kind of young and inexperienced players.
Yeah, absolutely, and Noor Ali there. You know, obviously it has been like this year in, year out for the Eagles, and it has been that kind of a season as well for them. And you look at the last three players on the substitutes bench, Shafi Suhaimi, Ryan Noor, and Prince Rio Rifai, and all of them students. And students of College East as well, so I know them.
You know these guys,
yeah. And they're good players, you know. But at this level, obviously, it's asking too much, obviously, to come in and make a difference. So yeah, you talk about these two teams, and this fixture has given us 15 goals so far this season. So if you're going to ask me, and you know what I'm going to say, we are expecting goals.
Oh, don't say that now. Now he's jinxed it. No. Actually, I think the last time you and I did a game together, we certainly got a lot of goals. So let's hope for that. Shasi, since we're waiting for kickoff, come on, give us quick thoughts on which of these three youngsters you like to see.
Well, they are all different kind of players. Shafi Suhaimi is more a right back. Ryan Noor is a central midfielder, and Prince Rio, you know, with a name like that, he's always going to be a striker. And yeah, I think he's the most exciting of the lot. you know. But like I said, at this level, untried, not tested at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game goes.
Well, we shall see if they get on the pitch tonight. As the game gets underway here. And the hoops, the famous green and white hoops of Geylang International. As cross comes in, Amarul Adli bobbles around in the box. There were a couple of hands up for offside, not given. There's Inamoto in that little cul-de-sac there. Shahiran. Always looks like he's got the shortest socks and the smallest shin pads on.
Yeah, but this was a good turn, wasn't it? Yeah, just totally tricked Huzaifa that in terms of the direction, but good start for BG Tampines, as you would expect.
You feel the race for second, Shasi, still can be ignited today? We get that win for Geylang International?
I think so. I really think so. It's what, 7 points away, if I got my maths right, and you know, 7 more games to go, right? Yeah. 7 games to go, and there's always a chance, you know, as long as you keep on winning games and as long as you know, you keep on getting at it, you always stand a chance.
Glenquay with the ball in, and yes, it's an early goal. The man that we'd highlighted in the pre-show because of his goal-scoring abilities, once again hits the mark. And well, Rudy Karula kind of was ball watching in the end, couldn't do much. So it seemed was that Geylang International defense.
Well, I said they always stand a chance, but not like this. Defending like this won't get you far, because this was a good delivery, but Zlatkovic jumped up the highest, I think past the Haria, and I don't think Rudy Karula can get to this because the ball was really so high, so there's no way he's going to come out and get to it. But I think it was Haria, and again another player was mentioned pre-game as well in terms of the mistakes that he makes in a game because of his age, but you know, that's too easy for Zlatkovic.
Well, there was a quick check to see if there was a handball in there. Also, just a quick rectification, and that was Faris Ramli who delivered the ball in for that free kick. It's another goal for Zlatkovic. 7 goals in the league campaign so far. And it's nice to be able to chip in from the back, as it were.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I think as long as the goals come in, it doesn't matter from where, but this is obviously an advantage, you know, to have a goal-scoring defender. And Dylan Fox obviously scored last week as well in the Cup, so another player who can score goals. Yamashita, obviously we know he's a threat aerially as well, so doing well at the moment.
Well, the defending has been the bane of Noor Ali's existence this season. He's felt really quite frustrated at the number of goals and the softness of those goals as well, Shasi. And whenever it's off a set piece, you'll be tearing your hair out, right?
Absolutely, and again, you know, I just go back to we make comparisons between the two sides. Both these sides, Geylang has lost 5 and BG Tampines lost 4, so they're pretty similar in that sense. But the problem is, it's in terms of the draws, right? So Geylang has drawn more games, 8 games as to BG Tampines 6. Again, not so much. Far off. So, you know, in these kind of games, you know, it's in the details, you know, how you mark players from set pieces, you know, and mistakes. You got to cut out those mistakes. And so far, in the second minute of the game, you've already made a mistake.
He is the 3rd highest scorer in the side as well, by the way. Miloš Zlatkovic. Ball comes in. That's a nice looking one. First time they've really got attacking. A shot in from Nakuddin Yunus. There's a couple of hands up there for an appeal. Faris Ramli trying to lead a counter. He's given the ball away.
Yeah, it's a great feel to the game already, in an open game.
Quick passing. They do like to play their football, as it were. This Geylang International side, they will keep at you. They'll press, they'll harry. They like to pass it around, possession. They've got plenty of speed as well in their side. Their Achilles heel, as we've mentioned though, has been that defending. 46 goals now conceded. No surprises, they've got the worst defense in the top three, those three teams that were at one stage vying for that title. That is cleared away by Shui Yamashita. Tezuka. He looks up, to play that towards the league's top scorer by some way, Tomoyuki Doi, 39 goals and counting, no foul. Roya Taniguchi. Fox heads it away.
Yeah, Nakyudin had made a very good run on the blind side, but good header away from Fox. Well, it has been played at a very good speed and intensity already this game.
Now to Amro Ladley.
That foul on the back of Konori. He does well there, using his body very well to shield and then to play the ball off. But it was a combination of Shake and Tezuka there.
You know, he's had this transition over ever since Fox came in. Zlatkovic has got into that left-back role.
Yeah.
And when he was centre-back before Fox came in, he was always kind of pushing up anyway, wasn't he?
Exactly. You know, whenever he's played in that position, he's not really afraid to step into central midfield. And now he's gone to left back.
It's given him a license, right, Shashi?
Exactly, to roam that left flank. And last week in that cup game, he's almost played like a left winger.
Yeah. Yeah, it has certainly worked for them nicely having that. And also what that means, Shashi, is also you're allowing Glenn Quay to go further up the pitch.
It absolutely.
That's raced past Amro Ladley, because obviously earlier in the season, and we're talking almost a year ago now, because
it's been a long season.
It's a longer season. Glenn Quay started there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we've always felt, I know you certainly would prefer him further on the pitch.
And absolutely, you know, I think he is more of an attacking player, a very good player, either on the right or even on the left-hand side, doesn't matter, but not at left back. You know, I think that is not his natural position. Defensively, he is a little bit suspect there.
Taniguchi out across to Nakyudin. Another one who's also been promoted from behind and, well, I was about to say, enjoys himself playing up there. He's won the ball back. Tomoyuki Doi looking for an opportunity to pull the trigger, which he does. It comes off Zlatkovic.
Yeah, that was good work from Nakyudin. He lost the ball initially and then won it back. He's always going to work hard for the side.
Looking to play it out from the back. They've done it quite nicely, haven't they? BG Tampines Rovers, here's Seiya Konori.
Well, Konori...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the ball wasn't the best, but Konori is a very, very intelligent player. You know, he drifts into positions where he will receive the ball and not being marked as well. So, you know, Geylang has got to really take good care of Konori in terms of his positioning and be aware and wary of where he is, especially when BG Tampines win possession of the ball. And that was a foul on Shake. Faris Ramli on a strong challenge. Definitely a foul.
Well, since the goal, Shashi, the response has been a fairly decent one, hasn't it, from Geylang International?
Yeah, I think it has been a good response. And again, the goal came very early, so that's a good thing as well for Geylang. So there's plenty of time for them to get back into the game. And obviously, they've got players to do that as well.
Well, they're looking to really press them from the front there, and Basil Bezcourt's hurt himself as he went in on Fox.
Yeah, it's very good defending in terms of the pressing, isn't it, from Geylang, pressing high up the pitch. Oh, and obviously they've got to get this right in terms of the pressing, because if they don't, then this can happen. Faris.
Oh, he's just a bit slow to that, Shakir Hamza. Here's Faris. Out wide to Glenn Quay. Gets the cross in. Shakir is there. Here's Shahiran. Got to go all the way back to Shazwan. Now Zlatkovic looking to play that over the top for Glenn Quay to run onto. Cuts it back in, that could be a chance here. Oh, on the follow-up there. Well, he's buried his face in the ground, Faris Ramli. And you can see why here.
Wow, what was Faris Ramli doing there? This was good play. Zlatkovic with that initial ball. Wonderful play from Glenn Quay. And then that shot was parried by Rudy Kairula. And
I mean, there wasn't even a flag, Shasi.
No,
I don't know whether that, do you think, I mean, I'm trying to find something here for him. No, right?
Please don't. No, that was really a bad miss from Faris Ramli. But that was really good play from Zlatkovic and then Glenn to put it on a plate for Kanori. And Rudy Kairula obviously parried the ball just right in front of Faris Ramli to finish off, and that's a let-off.
I mean, we've had some big misses this season, haven't we?
Yeah.
That has got to be right up there. Shahiran advancing here for BG Tampines Rovers. Taniguchi. He's got some close attention there from Amirul Adli. They too like to also play it out from the back. Well, this time Rudy Kairula was looking for Vincent Bescourt. Taniguchi surging forward. He's got a bit of pocket of space here. Still Taniguchi is waiting for that run. Comes belatedly. Doi. He's got a lot of opposition players around him. Still going here, Doi. Oh, he's done well, hasn't he, Bescourt? I'm not sure what Shakir Hamza was doing, though.
Well, you know, just going back to the move, I think that was the wrong choice from Taniguchi. He waited and waited and waited for his mate Doi. It's simple as that. And then, you know, got a little bit too late there and then played the ball to Doi. And by then, it was crowded out, you know, and angle was a little bit too acute, tried to do everything on his own.
Goes up the other end, Sei Kanori. This is an excellent game so far from a viewer's perspective. Surely Faris Ramli, who had that opportunity, gets himself in a muddle.
Yeah, that's brilliant from Shakir because he knew that Faris would cut inside and then just stood his ground. Good defending.
That's going to be an interesting battle, isn't it? The two sort of grizzled veterans of Singapore football.
They know each other so well as well.
But Faris has been in positions before, Shasi, where he's had excellent opportunities to score, but he somehow fluffs those lines. Yeah,
exactly. You know, I think, again, and obviously, he has the ability to score great goals, as we've seen before. And in the Mitsubishi Cup as well, you know, when he scored that curler. But
then the easier ones.
Exactly. He's done that so many times. It's a weird thing. You can't seem to explain those.
Right. Is it often when you have too much time or you think it's easy, do you put the pressure on yourself?
Yeah, or maybe again, maybe you get a little bit too relaxed. You know, that could be the reason as well. Well, again, it's a weird one, but it has been a great game so far.
Yeah, it really has. The ball put through by Taniguchi. It's not quite going to get to Nakyudin, who made the run. So nice and open this, end to end. Akmal, excuse me. Akmal Azman, his brother Naufal on the bench. Another one they could call upon with a bit more experience. Away by Shah. Rio Sakuma. This is Keto Haria. Oh, just showed a bit much to the ball, but he's got away with that one, Shakir.
We spoke about the battle there.
Yeah.
It has been really, really good, Faris and Shake.
Ryo Taniguchi looked to try and play a cross in, but Shuya Yamashita was there.
Another battle has been really, really good and good to see as well is Bezako and Nakamura in the middle of the park. Two number 10s. There you go, 1v1 there.
Given away now, Inomoto. Good challenge from Akmal. A lot of bodies in front, everyone's back here for BG Tampines Rovers. Wasn't able to rise up for that one.
Yeah,
he puts his hand up, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was well played. Well played through the middle and then out wide to Akmal. And a useful ball, but probably a little bit too high.
Here's Tezuka. Josh Pereira at the moment, that's a miss, of course, for this Geylang international side. No, Saifullah can't play against Paris club, so those are two key players that would have featured, I'm sure, in some shape or form today, just to add to that depth that they desperately need. Shakir and his buddy there, Faris.
Yeah, tried to suck Faris in.
Yeah.
And obviously did it on purpose, but Faris was a little bit too quick there.
Played that really well. He conjures up something out of nothing, this man, Vincent Besco. We've not really seen much of him so far in this match.
Oh, what a ball that was from Taniguchi. Spotted the run there. That was a great run in. Oh, for a moment I thought the goalkeeper had made a save, but it hit the outside of the post, but that was a chance. Although angle was pretty acute there. Great spot from Taniguchi. 17 assists. Brilliant.
Surging forward, Inomoto finds Faris. Across the goal, Inomoto! Oh, it's far too easy again. It's 2 now for BG Tampines Rovers, who'd been under a fair bit of pressure from the last time that they scored.
Well, at the moment, Geylang are losing out on the transitions. They've had control of the game in terms of possession and even a couple of chances as well. But then on the break here, they just get caught out. Good move, Inomoto with a pass, Faris with the cross. And a very, very assured finish from Inomoto. Rodi Kairula, again, had no chance at all.
Shashi, what do you feel about those two defenders who are well off him?
Yeah, exactly. And again, he started the move in terms of playing the ball out to Faris. So coming from a deeper position is always going to be difficult to pick out. But it's in those transitions that they've been caught out. And Geylang on the spot, yeah, really 2-0 down, 20 minutes gone.
That is his third goal for his new club. He'd scored 13 for Young Lions in 19 appearances. Frustration perhaps now coming out, appearing for Geylang International, who already find themselves 2 down here.
And Besar there getting the yellow card, bringing Enomoto down after a mistake, I think from Huzaifa with a bad ball. So we take a look at that again. Probably went down a little bit too easily, Enomoto, but yeah, Geylang, you got to sort this out. 2-0, still okay. Still have time to get back into the game.
I think you said earlier it was good that it was an early goal for Geylang. I guess you could still say, well, 2 early goals, lots of 70-odd minutes in this game to come at least.
Well, it's never okay to concede goals, but yeah, you know, it's just relative, isn't it? But great start for BG Tampines.
Yeah, there was a little check there, but no issues. Well, there's someone else we haven't really talked too much about so far. Kyoga Nakamura has given the ball away. Nakudin. A lot of players around him. Oh, has he just come together there with Zlatkovic, who gets a yellow card?
Well, initially I thought it was just obstruction. I think Farad saw a hand on Nakudin. Just take a look at this. It's good play from Nakudin. Wanted support, didn't come.
It's the shoulder, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not. There's no malice in that. He couldn't get out of the way, but it was a foul. It's obstruction.
Is that worth a yellow card for you? Did he kind of run into that shoulder?
Yeah, I think so as well. And the thing is, I think the referee made his mind up really, really quickly. Yeah. A little bit unlucky there, Zlatkovic. He obviously looks worse than it is.
Midway through this first half that's just flown by so far. BG Tampines Rovers already 2 goals up against Geylang International.
Well, BG's record against Geylang has been pretty good. 1 loss in 10 games only. So, not the upper hand over Geylang.
A very casual header there from Shakir.
Yeah, he wanted to play the ball in for Taniguchi. It made that run, and the ball just ended up into BG's hands.
Well, they've got to sort themselves out here. Geylang International.
Yeah, it's those players, Inamoto and Kunuri, just in front of them in those spaces. As soon as they play out and break that press from Geylang, they are in business, and that's where Geylang can be caught. And that time a long ball from Yamashita all the way to Rudy Vairula.
Yeah, the league's hot shot hasn't really had much to work with so far, Shashi. Is that fair to say with Doi?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Taniguchi's the wrong kind of contact. And it's also the wrong kind of contact perhaps from
it's offside.
Adli, but the flag is up for offside anyway. But he was kind of hoping, wasn't he, Taniguchi, for something to go his way?
Yeah, I think he was already in an offside position, so the touch wasn't the best as well. Ball over the top, and
oh, well offside.
a good decision.
Yeah, he's looking right across that line as well, but
his touch was heavy as well.
yeah, it was. they've got that 2-goal cushion now. BG Tampines Rovers. There is one more game, by the way, between LCS and BG Tampines Rovers, and it's the last game of the season, wouldn't you know it? So they just basically have to win, keep winning, and hope things go their way, other results.
Yeah, in a way, for the neutrals as well. I think it'd be good for BG to win, you know, all their games, all their remaining games.
You wanted to come down to that last game of the season.
Of course.
Yeah. Out to Faris Rumley on this right-hand side. Another goal you feel will seal the deal.
Yeah, opted to go for the early ball for Inamoto. Space in front of him as well. No, to go for the cross instead.
They have that luxury now of just stroking it around.
Yeah, if you're holding a lead, and it's good to be in a BG side.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a shot there from Konori. They're asking for the corner.
Yeah, I think they said Rudy had a touch to it, a fingertip, and the ball was, to be fair, always going away in terms of the angle there. Maybe a slight touch on the fingernail, maybe.
Nakurin. Now Akmal. Trying to find balls behind the defence, looking on for runners like Nakurin. Not easy so far. Konori gives it away. Quick passing here from Geylang International. By the way, just off the ball, you might just see Shasharan limping around. He's a little uncomfortable.
No, I think he got caught accidentally. I don't think by whom, but he should be okay.
Doi looking to go out wide to Taniguchi, and Amro Ladley is there first.
A great challenge from Amiro. Read that play from Doi. Tried to cushion the ball in for Taniguchi. A little bit too short.
Oh, that was rather careless. It was almost from Keita Haria, and Tezuka was there.
Oh, that was class from Tezuka. He's bailed his teammate out.
Very strong Japanese flavour to this Geylang International side. We've got the two centre-backs in Sakuma and Haria. Tezuka in midfield, and attack, of course, Taniguchi and Doi. So the spine of the team has got all that talent in there. Then you add in the flair of Bezcourt. This is what people say. They have a very, very impressive first 11. And then 2 or 3 more others who could also force their way in. So that 13, 14 players. But it's not really going to be enough for a title tilt over a long season. And they've certainly felt the effects of that. Nakurin comes off him last.
Yeah, good double teaming there, Akmal and Nakurin on Glenn Quay.
Then, as I think we've already mentioned it, you know, for BG Tampines Rovers, they've just got one youngster in the side on the bench in Keegan Pang, but rest has got lots of experience. Irfan Najib, Singapore international, Yasser Hanapi, former international, Taufik Suparna, Joel Chu. Yeah. Arya Gami is a very good, skillful player, technical player.
Yeah, it's always the difference, isn't it? You know,
It's the depth, isn't it?
Yeah, we talk about the 11 that plays, but it's always the bench that's going to help you in a season, a long season. And it's 32 games, and that's what has happened for LCS as well.
Absolutely. They've got all those continental games as well.
Yeah, exactly. More competitions than ever. So it has definitely helped to have a big squad. And not only big squad of quality players as well.
Which, I mean, the flip side to that, Shashi, is they've punched above their weight in many ways, Geylang International, to be top 3.
Yeah.
You know, and then you look at a side like Hougang, of course, who've got a lot of depth. Arguably, Albrechts Nagata have improved their season now. They're up to 4th, but Hougang now in 6th. These are sides who've got more depth players. Great ball out to Tommy Kidoy, and comes across there, Fox, to deny him the shot.
Yeah, I think Amirul Adli not happy with Faris Ramli there in terms of the tracking and closing down. That was great ball from Huzaifa, and Doy just failed to take it on the run. Great defending on the cover, Dylan Fox.
That's nicely done by Yamashita. Akmal finds Nakudin. Quick feet from Taniguchi. Now Bezcourt. Kind of being pushed back a little here. Geylang International kept all this possession. They can't break through the lines yet. Oh, that's nicely done. This is a chance here. Shaki Hamza! Oh, fantastic! Oh, he's rolled back the years there, hasn't he, Shaki Hamza? And they have pulled one back here, Geylang International.
Well, are we sure he's a left back? Because that first touch was just class from Shaki Hamza. He just took it past the last defender. Just watch him right in the middle of the picture here. As the ball comes in, that first touch, superb, taking it past Yamashita. And the finish as well, giving Shazwan Buhari the eyes and just putting it into the near post. Oh, that was good play as well, but that first touch was just brilliant from Shaki Hamza.
Well, left Shuya Yamashita in his wake. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's his 5th goal of the season. We'll talk about defenders who like to score. How about that? Shakir. Well, Shasi, I mean, from our point of view, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as a game as well, you know, yeah. I think that is an important goal for Geylang. It's 2-1, game on, and every opportunity for them to come back and get back into the game as well.
Look, there's still 13, 14 minutes if you add some time on to that clock, and who knows what will happen between now and then.
Yep.
That'll just give them a little boost, a little bit of hope. That's what the game needed, you're right. BG Tampines Rovers, they've had a couple of opportunities.
It was interesting. I was seeing Iqbal Hussain doing a little bit of warm-up, so
wow,
maybe an early change, don't know, but probably might have to put that on hold after that goal.
Just keeping an eye and seeing if anyone's not moving particularly well on this Geylang side. That is overhit by Fox. Oh, Rudy Carla will say never in doubt. Oh, he's given that away carelessly. Shakir. This is the kind of little bits of casual play that I think Noor Ali would get mad about, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, again, it's just decision making as well.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the coach can't do anything. By then it's too late. So they've got to make those decisions on the pitch. Yeah, they want to play out from the back. It's fine, no problems. Don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you do, then you are in trouble. So sometimes just put the ball out or put the ball up.
Shakir lofts the ball over. Not getting any word of any change yet, so that's a good sign, at least from a Geylang international perspective. Across to Fox here. No sign yet of trying to trigger some kind of press, not quite yet. Got to pick your moment, Shasi.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a trigger, and everybody has got to go at the same time.
Tell me, what did you guys call it back in the day in your playing days? I mean, the press has become all the centuries ago now. But I mean, was pressing a big deal back then when you were playing?
Yeah, of course.
But what was it called? I mean, it wasn't called pressing then, was it? Was it called pressing? Because
Of
the
course.
word has only come back. You know, I mean, we're talking a while ago here.
No, I'm not 100 years old. By the
You
way.
wouldn't know it, but
No, it's just called pressing. It's always been called.
were you guys? Was that a big instruction? Because you know, pressing's become very trendy over the last decade and a half, 2 decades maybe.
Well, it's always about, you know, setting out your defensive structure first. You know, in terms of where do you want to start pressing, or the press, whether it's high up the pitch or in the middle third or even just sit back. So you set your stall out from minute 1.
Yeah.
And then as you go along, and then things change in the game. So obviously, you know, you are prepared to press high up the pitch or whatever. But there's always a trigger. You know, for example, the left back is maybe you want to target the left back, who is probably the weak link.
Right.
So once the ball goes out there, and then, you know, that's probably the trigger, and then everybody goes together. But it's really has to be worked out on the training pitch. It's as simple as that, you know, and you got to keep on working at it, and that's how, you know, you have to really see, or you get to see teams really being successful, and that's on the training pitch. And yes, Shazad, it's called pressing.
I pressed him for an answer, and he has duly delivered. Here's Roya Taniguchi. But were you asked to press as high as people now, you know, have been doing for?
Yes,
Yeah, as high as you
sometimes,
are.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes. Maybe in a game, maybe after the 20th minute, for example, you know, you wanna, you know, start pressing high up the pitch, and then, you know, there's instructions from the bench, and then you start doing that. Or, you know, when you start losing, or you lose a goal, for example, and then maybe the last 10 minutes of that first half, you want to press high up the pitch, maybe try to get a goal back, you know, that kind of thing. So it's always been prepared, always been done on the training pitch beforehand.
It was interesting because when I brought up the press from the very earlier on, I could see Bezkor kind of putting his hand up, almost to say, guys, hold on.
Yep.
Let's not let them play this out. If nothing else, it's also about regulating your intensity, isn't it, over this 90 minutes, when you want to pick your moments.
And there's a fitness component as well, a fitness issue as well. You can't press high up the pitch for 90 minutes. It's almost impossible. So you got to pick your time and your moments.
There he is again. He's sort of instructing his players. This is where we try and create that pressure, close down, win the ball back, and they have. Here they are. Taniguchi, he slips that through. Oh, he got a little toe poke on that. Tomoyuki Doi, did he escape the flag? Well, it stayed down.
Yeah, it stayed down, and I tell you what, that was, again...
What a ball.
It's a remarkable ball. Oh, that's a mistake.
Through now, Seiya Konori. Rudy Karilas high up in the box, and he has got that through. Well, that will be such a blow here for Geylang International, but from a BG Tampines Rovers perspective, that was massive.
Well, it's that man again, Haria, with a mistake. It's a poor ball. Or was it Tezuka? Sorry, it was Tezuka. And as soon as that ball went to Konori, they are always going to be in danger. And that just played it blindly. He didn't know where Konori was, Tezuka. And then that finish, I don't know whether he intended that finish.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's ended up into the back of the net.
Just on the note there for Rudy Karila, could he have advanced? Could he have closed the angle down?
Nah, you know, it's a tough
difficult.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a tough one. It's way too much space and time for Konori. And as soon as that ball was played behind Yamashita, they were in trouble.
Shashi, from a coaching perspective today, the 3 goals conceded by Geylang, this has got to be so frustrating for Noali.
Especially the first and third goals. The first one was a direct free kick.
Yeah.
And the marking was terrible on Zlatkovic. And then the third one, you know, it's a clear mistake, a back pass, and then to the opponent. You know, the second one, of course, in transition, maybe they could have done better. But the first and third goals, they're so poor goals to concede.
And after the progress being made by Geylang International, really got themselves a toehold in this game. They have now conceded a third, and it's a 2-goal deficit once again.
Yeah, Norali will be tearing his hair out, you know, seriously, because they were they were okay. At 2-1, fine, get into the dressing room, 2-1, not a problem at all. Now it makes it a little bit too difficult again.
Can they bounce back? Besar was tackled by Zlatkovic. He's on the ball again though. He's got to go for goal. Oh, that took a little deflection of Zlatkovic.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was trying to do, just trying to curl it, but then couldn't get enough purchase on the ball. But I think Fox has been outstanding today at centre-back. You know, he was the one who made that tackle on the cover. Zlatkovic, he's always going to struggle, especially against pacey wingers. He doesn't have that speed, but Fox has worked brilliantly with him. Good combination on that left-hand side of defense.
Oh, well anticipated there from Haria. Now Besar. Waiting for some support. Nakirun was there. And it does somehow fall to him anyway. He's not been able to control it. Into the final minute of this first half.
Yeah, it has been quite fantastic for this first half, especially for the neutrals. A good watch for the fans out at the Jalan Besar Stadium as well as for those who are watching at home. We promised 2 goals at the beginning.
Yeah.
4 goals already.
And this could be more to come, where this has been panning out. Well, we did wonder whether that 2-1 scoreline would change by half-time, but the pressure was mainly being applied by Geylang International, but it's BG Tampines Rovers who have got the all-important third. He's just switched sides, Faris Rumley, with Glenn Quay, who's taken the ball brilliantly, advances into the area. That was some desperate defending at the back there. Haria gets ahead on it.
Oh, that was a great first touch from Glenn Quay. As soon as Shake had committed to the challenge, didn't get that. Always going to be in danger.
Nakamura has managed to hold on to the ball. Doi. Oh, he's missed that one, Huzaifa.
Ah, it's a silly ball, really.
Not the greatest ball.
Yeah,
though,
from Shake. You can't play a ball like that. A square ball and a high one as well. It's always going to be difficult for Huzaifa to control it. And sometimes you just do feel that the Geylang players are just shooting themselves in the foot sometimes.
Yeah. Glenn Quay. Minutes of out of time with a minute and a half gone. This is disappointment, Shasi, for Geylang. Of course, is already out of the cup. They obviously want to get themselves as high up the table as possible.
Yeah,
and you know, given how well they've done in the league overall, I know it's not been a great period. The cup represented a really good chance for them, didn't it, to get something in the silverware.
Yeah, it was a really disappointing cup run, wasn't it? Only one draw and 3 losses, and you know that's unlike Geylang.
Including that 5-4 defeat to Balestier Khalsa, where they were controlling much of that first half.
Yeah, and it's so, like I said, it's so unlike Geylang in a cup competition as well. You know, so often than not, they rallies are there and thereabouts, but they've been really, really poor in that sense. And of course in the league, and they're sitting pretty comfortably, I have to say, in 3rd position. We talk about the 4th place Albrechts, they're pretty far off. Yeah. And obviously they have a target or a chance to try to get as close as possible to PG, but obviously, you know, they've got to really, really do much, much more, cut out mistakes especially.
Nakamura. Oh, I was going to say the touch was good. Well, in the end, he wasn't closed down. Glenn Quay. The ball is put over there by Milos Lakovic, but Glenn Quay had the whole. How much time did he have there? Didn't pull a shot off.
Listen, I thought he should have just taken a shot after that first touch, the brilliant first touch. Take a shot, you know, take a gamble. He didn't.
Well, luckily for him, they are doing very well indeed. BG Tampines Rovers. Zlakovic with an early goal to set them on their way. Then it became 2 with the goal from Itsuki Inamoto. Geylang International pulled one back through Shakir Hamza. Fine one from him before a third was scored by Seya Kanori. Half-time score here at the Jalan Besar Stadium. It's BG Tampines Rovers 3, Geylang International 1. We'll take a short break and then hear from Roshan and Colette.
It is Friday night under the lights here at the Jalan Besar Stadium for this Eastern Derby between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. The Stags with a 3-1 lead over the Eagles at half-time. Nothing short of entertainment in the first 45 minutes of this one. Roshan.
Really good game of football so far. Really entertaining. Lots of excitement in terms of chances from both these sides. Very open. There's good quality in possession as well. And some nice goals to look at. So not too much to complain about from a neutral perspective.
Absolutely. And I can tell you the fans out there at the Jalan Besar Stadium are having an absolutely brilliant time. Even at halftime, we're hearing the show caller out there giving a really good performance. But we will take a look at the highlights. 4 goals in the first 45 minutes out at the Jalan Besar Stadium. It didn't take long for the first one to come the way of Tampines Rovers.
No, this is a great header from Milos Zlatkovic. It really is, because he's got to generate power and direction with that. And it's just swerving into his direction. Good delivery from Faris, curling a little bit away from Zlatkovic. So he has to just step off that little bit and then redirect that into the corner. Heads it down, no chance for the goalkeeper. Brilliant from Zlatkovic. You could ask a question, could the marking could have been better, could have been tighter? Yes, I think so. But don't take anything away from the quality of the header from Milos Zlatkovic.
Well, Zlatkovic here with that wonderful pass there. 10 minutes later, it should have been 2-0. Rudy Kairula gets a save, but Faris Ramli should have done better. That should have been the back of the net.
Yeah, a couple of chances here actually for BG Tampines to make it 2. Nice composed play from Glenn Quay. I think he's had a very strong first half. First was Kunori, and then Faris should have put that away.
19th minute, Geylang International with their first chance. What a great pass that was. Bezakort, though, just nipping the side of the post. Yeah, they've had
their opportunities. They have their openings. You know, Taniguchi once again with that reverse pass. Wonderful vision, and the technical execution of that was very good. Bezakort from a tight angle, still being able to get a shot away, but coming off the frame of the goal.
And Roshan, as this has happened just seconds later, Itsuki Inamoto just guides it past Rudy Kairula, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, I love this move forward from BG Tampines. It's, you know, so good. It's slick in possession, nice and swift. They get it forward quickly. Inamoto is composed. They get numbers into the area. Have a look at Kunori's run, because Kunori's run creates that little bit of space, that pocket of space for Inamoto to make his movement there. Just in behind him, Kunori takes away the 2 central defenders, forces them to drop, and then Geylang's midfield doesn't drop, it doesn't follow the run of Inamoto, and he's all alone and makes no mistake.
You always thought there was a goal in it for Geylang International, didn't you? And it came from Shakir Hamza.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of an unlikely source in a sense, but then now he's up to 5 goals for the season. You know, you asked a great question when he scored this. What was he doing there? Brilliant bit of positioning. You know, have a look at the position he takes up, catches out Shuya Yamashita, and then there's still some work to do here, because he's got to take a couple of very quick touches. First touch, excellent as it comes into him, just to take it away. And then here, next one is important, pushes it into the area. The second one from the third touch overall in that move, just to set himself up for the finish. Has a couple of looks and then slides it past the goalkeeper. Yeah,
a wonderful finish that was. And then in the 41st minute, this mistake leads to Tampines' third goal.
I mean, this has been a thing for Geylang International this season. They've made lots of individual errors defensively that haven't helped their cause in matches this season. Again, it's come from a player you don't expect to make a mistake like that. Tezuka, who's normally very calm and composed in possession and very assured in those areas. The fact that he's turned around and he's passed it into a space there and given his defense all sorts of trouble is surprising. Good finish from Seiya Kunori, and credit to him, because he was switched on. Good bit of pace, nice acceleration.
Yeah.
And then
he was uncatchable. He's got some pace, doesn't he, Seiya Kunori?
Nice with the finish there. He almost hits it into the ground, so it skips up over the goalkeeper and makes its way in.
All part of the planning. As we take a look at the stats, it's pretty equal on the pitch that in the first half.
Yes.
I mean, you could see Geylang International come back in the second here and I don't know, maybe find an equalizer, make it 3-3, maybe even nick a win in 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the chances that they have going forward, with the type of play we've been seeing from them, they're definitely still in it. I just think defensively they have to watch out. You look at how close it is in terms of the possession numbers, in terms of attempts and efforts on target, and there's only 2 goals in it, 45 minutes. Lots can change in the second half. You expect BG Tampines to stay in control of this one, but you know it's the Singapore Premier League, and
anything can
all
happen.
sorts of things can happen. So I wouldn't say it's done and dusted just yet. And that's the frustrating thing from Geylang's perspective, though, is that Noor Ali will be annoyed with the fact that the goals that they conceded, if you look at least two of them, one was from a set-piece situation, and the other one was from a mistake. So, you know, that would be the frustrating part of it from their perspective.
But of course, they have to go out now in the second half and chase the game, which could leave them even more exposed at the back.
Yeah, it could, and that's how it's going to go in terms of game state. So BG Tampines would probably be quite happy to say to Geylang at times that you come and press us, you step forward, open up and try and create opportunities, and then we'll be patient and play through you. And that will give BG Tampines a few more opportunities, a little bit more space out on the pitch to go and exploit. What we're seeing from BG Tampines as well is their willingness to not just pass it out from the back. Of course, they're very good at that, but when Geylang do press high up, they're quite happy to also go a little bit more direct, you know, because of that pace. And Glenn Quay, I think, has been a really good outlet for them up front. And of course, Kunori and Inamoto with their switches of positions have also been very good outlets for them.
Well, it's really been a very entertaining first half of football here at the Jalan Besar Stadium between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. We will have the second half coming up for you in just a short while. But before we get to that, let's bring you up to date with the matches coming up in match week 29. Don't forget, we have a double header that's coming up tomorrow. Hougang will take on Albirex Niigata at the Jalan Besar Stadium, while Balestier Khalsa will be at home at the Bishan Stadium to take on Tanjung Pagar United, while the Young Lions take on the league-leading Lion City Sailors. That one is a 6 p.m. kickoff on Sunday, so lots to look forward to, including the second half here at the Jalan Besar Stadium. What a great game of football we have had, and the entertainment does not stop. We'll be back very shortly with the second half for this one between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. Don't go away.
Second half then about to get underway here at Jalan Besar Stadium in this Eastern Derby between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. Here with Shashi Kumar as we just look at the players slowly coming back onto the pitch. No changes so far, Shashi.
Yeah, at the moment there's no changes for BG Tampines for now at least, and no news on Geylang at the moment. I would, I think there's a couple of changes for Geylang, and just waiting for confirmation there.
Yeah, there is going to be some movement, at least from the Geylang perspective. They're the ones trailing here.
Yeah, Akmal and Huzaifa is going to be replaced.
Yeah. Well, there's, I guess, chasing a game, you want to bring another forward on, and that is no surprises that Iqbal is coming on. What do you make about Akmal?
Yeah, and Naufal is coming in.
They're going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think that's what I think Nakyudin will go to right back, and Naufal will push on a little bit further forward. Obviously, Iqbal will go out wide, and Taniguchi will play behind Doi, because Taniguchi was out wide on the left-hand side. So this probably allows Bezakor to drop in a little bit deeper to play alongside Tezuka. So it's an attacking change, I gotta say, because now they've got Naufal and Iqbal in wide positions, and Nakyudin coming from deep, playing at right back, and Taniguchi just playing off Doi. Might not be a bad move at all.
He's going for it here, Noor Ali.
Yeah, he has to.
Yep.
And which is good to see as well. You know, you got to take risk. You know, you got to make those changes to.
And he's still got Zikos Chua as well. If we need to add on yet another forward. Yeah, so I think it's Taniguchi, isn't it, who's going to be kind of floating around.
Yeah, just behind Doi. That's probably his best position as well.
Overall, back to his keeper. It's almost like a 4-1-4-1, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're really going to go for this here.
Yeah, just Tezuka just biting into the challenge. Nori.
Nakamura goes out towards Faris. Skips past the challenge here, Inamoto. Nakamura touch on, and he goes for the shots. That's a decent save from Rudy Kairula.
Yeah, it was great pace shown from Inamoto on that left-hand side. And Nakamura with a fine shot with the outside of his left foot. Coming off Glenn there, but it's a good shot. Good save, Rudy.
Glenn Quay with the corner. Free header, perhaps. You might feel he should do better.
Inamoto. Yeah, Inamoto. Header just rising the highest in the penalty area. And he just comes off unmarked as well. And obviously it's a zonal marking. So Tezuka was the nearest one. Just didn't get anywhere near Inamoto.
Nakudin out to Naufal. Again, it's great passing from Geylang International. Here's Besar. Doi. To Taniguchi. Doi takes the shot. Has a couple of deflections. It will be a corner.
Oh, that was a great move, and all started off from Besar. Excellent close control. And this was surprising. Doi just played the ball into Taniguchi, ran out of space, and then that shot was deflected out. Good defending. Good pressure from Geylang as well.
Early corner in the first half led to a goal. Let's see if this early corner in the second at the same end. Now, will he do the same for Geylang? Doi with the shot. There's a sea of players there.
Yeah, wanted handball there on, I think it was Inamoto. Obviously, this is going to be checked.
Here's Doi again.
Superb from Shah Shahiran.
Did really well. Besar. Oh, that you'd expect better from him. Now.
Yeah, I think the only thing to say about that was it's not on his best left foot, but I think the way he took it down was great as well. Good pressure from Geylang.
By the way, the referee kind of indicated that it wasn't a handball. I think he was pointing to his upper part of his chest. Oh wait, hold on. No. He seemed to have indicated earlier that it wasn't, but he is now just saying.
To be fair as well, there were no complaints, so it's going to be checked and it's cleared.
There we go. It's under a bit of pressure. There's Lakovic.
Yeah, good pressure down the right-hand side. Obviously with the substitute Naufal and Nakudin.
Been a little stop-start. Here's Nakamura, looking for a fourth goal. PG Tampines Rovers to try and seal those 3 points. Geylang International don't want to leave themselves too much work to do. That looks a foul, doesn't it? On Faris Ramli, just outside the box.
Yeah, I think it was Tezuka with the challenge, sandwiched between Nakudin and Tezuka, but I think the foul was given against Tezuka. Good play from Faris, knew exactly what he was doing, just trying to go right through the middle. He was a tricky customer, Faris, nippy as well.
That is what you call a Ramli burger, in between those two. Free kick here now. Got Glenn Quay, but probably more likely Seiya Kunori. He's walking away from it. It will be Glenn Quay then.
Go for a shot.
Lofting it in, easy one for Rudy Khairullah, who looks to see who's the outlet.
Yeah, Rudy just did exactly what Glenn was trying to do there. You know, read it nicely, came out, pucked it out of the air easily.
Best score. Is that going to skip away? It does from Naufal.
Yeah, the angle wasn't great for that kind of a pass, but yeah, good effort, good try from Bezakor.
Fox clears. That message be from Nur Ali, let's get an early goal back.
Yeah, and obviously, but firstly, I think they've got to cut out the mistakes at the back. You know,
Well, that would be the first and foremost message, right?
yeah, of course. You know, I think the 3 goals, I think 2 goals could have been avoided easily.
Right.
So, you know, I think that would be the first message. And of course, secondly, just you got no choice. Just try to get at them, get at BG, take a little bit more risk at the top end. And obviously, when you do get your chances, you got to make them pay BG.
I like how you made sure you said take the risks at the top end rather than some of the risks they do at the other side of the pitch. Here's Bezakor. Glenquay does well. Sekunori. Just going to let that roll out of play for a throw.
Yeah, it's really good defending from Nakyudin. He just Tezuka was struggling for pace there against Kanori. Nakyudin just got back into a position and got the challenge in.
Nakamura. Difficult there for Inamoto.
Yeah, I think Haria did just enough there to put him off.
Yes, Iqbal hasn't really had too much yet in this second half since his introduction.
Yeah, I think he probably is a little bit more effective on the right-hand side where he can cut in with his left.
Shakir, great ball in on his right foot as well. Inamoto, that goes out. Zlakovic, look at that space now. Sekunori, he's got Shah Shahira in front of him and Faris Ramli now. Kanori. Zlakovic looked like he was shaping up to shoot. He gets it out to Glenquay. Oh, a bit of panic at the back. Touch there from the Geylang skipper, Bassel Bezakor. Given away by Naufal.
That's just poor from Naufal. The ball from Iqbal wasn't the best as well. A little bit too high, easily cut out from by the BG players. And this will suit BG just nice.
Lovely ball from Yamashita to Glenquay. Inamoto, heavy touch from him. How's Naufal?
Taniguchi just failed to control the ball. Ball from Besar.
Konori goes for goal. Oh, did well there, Rudy Karla, in the end to get across to it.
Oh, that's a great save from Rudy Hairula. But again, very good play from the two players up top, but Inamoto and Konori. Very mobile, very flexible in their movement as well. Smart in the way that Konori finds himself in all those spaces in front of the Geylang defense. You know, I think that's the difference between the BG attacking force and Geylang's, because I think they are a little bit more mobile. Inamoto and Konori, not afraid to run the channels. As for Doi, all the goals he scored, it's not always in the game. Yeah. You know, I think that's Geylang's problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's always in that middle zone, playing centrally. Can take nothing away from his finishing.
He can be largely anonymous.
Yeah.
Then pops up. There he is now, Doi. Oh, maybe just behind Shakir, who's stretching Shah Shairan. Manages to get it back to Shazwan. Nakamura. Decent ball in from Zlatkovic. Was that handball? Oh, it's another great chance for Faris Ramli, which he spurns.
Yeah, it's a brilliant move down this left-hand side. He did very well not to get caught out offside on this side with Konori, but that was a wonderful ball, but it has to be handball, that one, from Faris. I think it was handball. Probably will be checked anyway. Failed to keep the ball on target.
What do you think of the attempted shot?
Yep.
I see you focused on the handball more.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered if it gone in as well, but yeah, it wasn't the best of shots from Faris Ramli.
Right now, Shasi, would you say it's BG Tampines Rovers that look likely to score the next goal than the Geylang International?
Yeah, I think so. You know, every single time they go forward, they always seem to be creating that opening. And I think, like I said before, it's always been about the movement of Inamoto and Konori. Konori won't stay there. He'll just go run the channels, won't be afraid of doing that. Lots of hard work, but then got that ability to finish as well, Konori and Inamoto.
Well, that may well be the last bit of goalmouth action that Faris Ramli sees, because he's going to get taken off shortly, along with Glenn Quay. This is the depth of this side. Can bring on the likes of Joel Chu and Taufik Suparno. Here is Faris. Slips it down the line to Shah. Nakamura.
Too long. Looking for the run of Inamoto.
So those changes to be made. Glenn Quay walks off first, and he is replaced by Taufik Suparno, and Faris Ramli will be substituted.
Yeah, great subs to make as well, Taufik Suparno.
Taufik Suparno, yeah.
Coming in, and I think he's going to slot in that right wing position. And Joel Chu going out right left.
Here is Joel Chu's first touch. Kanori slips that into Milos Lakovic. Again, it's just got, it's right in front of Inamoto. He had a little behind, sorry, a little behind him, but what I mean is this, he's in a great position against Shasi.
Yeah, good ball again, good work down this right-hand side. The back heel from Kanori, he just got under the ball, didn't he? Could have done better, or should have done better actually.
He's had a couple of headers this second half.
Really haven't created anything of note in the second half, Geylang. That would worry Noali.
Yeah, that's, I can't remember really Shazwan having to make a save so far.
Yeah, good position here. They've got a free kick just in the BG Tampines' half.
Looking to clear their lines again. Oof, didn't take that cleanly. Vaso Besco. He's kind of, I feel like with someone like him, he's been on the periphery today. Normally a player loves to get involved and loves to be on the ball. He's not really had that today, has he?
Yeah, I think credit has got to go to BG, the way they've really crowded him out at times. And that was another occasion when Inamoto just pressed on him. Didn't really get a clear shot on goal, and that's the job of, and that's job well done actually from BG. So it's really good work from the BG side.
Yes, Shuya Yamashita. Or rather, Ryo Sakuma. Just, how about the urgency side of things for you from Geylang? You think you've seen enough of that?
Yeah, at the present moment, not a lot of balls have gone into the penalty area, and I think that is not a good sign. As soon as the ball goes into wider positions, just moments before this, Nakyurin had the ball back from Iqbal. Probably just try to put the ball into the penalty area, because they have Doi, Taniguchi in the penalty area as well. They haven't really gotten into the behind the BG defense.
It's another stunning ball out towards Zlatkovic, who's also put a teasing cross into the box. And that is put out of play by Keto Haria.
Yeah, what a ball that was, and what a take from Zlatkovic. He has that technical ability to do that. Technically very, very sound. And good ball in as well, in an area where it's always going to be difficult to defend. And Haria does well there just to get the touch to it before Taufik Suparno does on the blind side.
That's another free header they've had, haven't they? And these balls into the box.
Well, you know, if all of them gotten their contact right, it would have been 5 goals for them.
Yeah.
Really struggled defending from corner kicks, Geylang today.
Yamashita was kind of closed down there by Inamoto. Here's Tezuka though, back with Geylang.
Maybe too strong there, the challenge from Taufik. Taken quickly.
That's a bit more like it from Geylang. They're asking for a corner. It's going to be a goal kick. We talked about urgency, we've talked about creating opportunities. Maybe neither one of those is really happening for Geylang. We also mentioned Tomoyuki Doi. I don't think we really mentioned him much the second half. It's just, again, gone a bit quiet, hasn't he?
Yeah, you know, he thrives on service as well, and obviously sometimes he can do it on his own, but in those central areas. So what BG has done is really blocked off those areas. So the service, as long as he doesn't get the ball, it's always going to be safe for BG. And that's what is happening at the moment until right now. They've been solid at the back, BG. And let's not forget, BG has got the second best defense in the league.
Yeah, it's a very fair point. Well, Nakudin had sprinted forward. He's now having to sprint back here. Kunori. Foul on Naufal.
Yeah, I think just moments before this, that passage of play, Kunori would be disappointed that he just couldn't control that one. His first touch would, had it been good, would have been into the penalty area.
Well, Iqbal's maybe having hoping for a change of fortune when he's changed sides now. He's here on the right-hand side. And it looks like Naufal's just gone a little more centrally as well. Here he is.
That's a poor touch there from the substitute. Here comes Joe Chu.
Inamoto. Joel Chu on the edge of the area, comes in, looking for the outside of his foot.
Unlucky. Good defending from Sakuma. BG Tampines, Inamoto in particular, wanted a corner kick. He says that Haria had the final touch.
20 odd minutes to left in this match. Geylang International not really troubled their opponents in the second half. Looking a little devoid of ideas at the moment, and still could try to freshen things up. The only other real attacking force. They have Zico Chua, they've got the youngster Prince Rio. Perhaps they need some inspiration here. A goal would certainly make things very interesting. Nice little turn there from Shah. Now Taufik. Nicely done by Besar. Taniguchi's giving the ball away again.
I think BG Tampines, in terms of the defending, has been really, really good.
Yeah.
They're 1v1 defending, very solid.
Minamoto. Again, just to give you the scenario here, the context of how important this game is as far as Geylang International are concerned, and that is they need to win this to really give themselves any opportunity to try and finish second. They need 3 goals to do that here, at least. If they win, it'll only be 3 points away from BG Tampines Rovers. But it's looking hard, it's looking very hard for them, and they haven't finished second in the league since 2003. Mind you, they haven't finished inside the top 3.
Well, you talk about Geylang.
Since then as well,
yeah. BG Tampines as well. A win here takes them within 4 points of LCS, and obviously playing.
And it's over to LCS, isn't it?
Yeah, and having played 2 more games, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter. You still got to win your game, so it puts a little bit of pressure on LCS. So that's important as well for BG Tampines.
Yeah, all they can do is keep winning, hoping for things to go their way. Here is Besar. Oh, look at that. I mean, Zlakovic has been brilliant tonight.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Actually, the whole defense has been great at the back as a unit.
Here's Joel Chu, goes across to Seya Kanori. Well, they don't seem to be pressured too much. It's quite relaxed out there for BG Tampines Rovers.
Yeah, I think they've really, really handled themselves really well, controlled the game so well. Geylang, the one now, have to chase the game, chase shadows.
Oh, lovely ball. Joel Chu to Itsuki Minamoto. Shashairan! Calls that over.
Yeah, that's another player, any have, or you'd have any criticism of him, it's his finishing.
Doi. I think he's maybe had 1 shot today.
Yeah,
was
attempted.
that first half,
yeah.
maybe attempted. Not really had anything to feed on. But he's one of those that just needs 1 chance. Nicely done by Shah. Here's Kanori. He's such a great work attitude and work ethic. Oh, all the time and space in the world for Itsuki Minamoto. Again, fail to really make the most of that situation. Had to get himself back on side. Doi. Can he find a space to pull off a shot with his left foot? There you go. Oh, it's not far away.
Yeah, game really opening up there, but I think Besar will be disappointed that he didn't have a shot on target, or actually it's Doi who didn't get that shot on target. On the counter, on the transition, where BG almost scored. He just cut inside Amirul, or outside, and then shot that way off target.
Yeah, had it been with the right foot, perhaps might have troubled Shazwan. But that, I think, might have been the best chance of the second half for them.
Yeah, that looked like it was pushing from Rio Sakuma. Given. Yeah, the work ethic of, you spoke about Konori and the front two as well with Inamoto. They've been excellent.
Not quite where he wanted to direct that towards Naufal.
Yeah, it was class from Besar, the way he turned his man. And equally well done from Zlatkovic. He's been, again, very, very good today at left back. Late challenge from Nakyudin.
Shazwan getting closed down. Joel Chu, it's a great ball. Look who's there, Zlatkovic. Looking to play it across, but they clear their lines this time. Into the final 10 here. Just slips it in, Lesha. Konori. Oh, what an important touch that was from Rio Sakuma to take it away from the oncoming Taufik Subarno.
Wow, this second half, Geylang really has lacked that energy, really, and BG looks like they're the side that's going to score the next goal. What a ball this was, and what a touch defensively from Rio Sakuma. Had to get it right. Ball that was whipped in from Konori.
Joel Chu, Amrul Adli. Well, they probably can afford to do that sort of thing right now.
Yeah, just totally got under the ball.
Iqbal. He's him and Naufal and Taniguchi and Doi, that attacking quartet, not really been able to do much.
Yeah, second half, it's been really, really poor from Geylang. They just haven't got going in the attacking sense. That ball from Iqbal sums it up.
Well, I was just about to ask you whether they should add in someone like a Zikos Chua, but
yeah, they could.
he's not going to. He's not going to come on yet. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. Here is Inamoto. Now Zlatkovic. Interestingly, it's going to be Nakyudin coming off. It's not like he's had marauding runs down this right-hand side, has he, in the second half, Nakyudin?
Well, at the moment, they're nowhere close, the BG players, and I think that's the problem. You know, nobody seems to be putting a challenge in. Everyone is just so far off each other. They're not working together as a team, like in that first half. This could be the worst I've seen Geylang in a long, long while in terms of the way they've gone about doing their business. Just look at Aria. We're not happy at all with the referee.
Yeah.
But
He's saying it's into my back, not shoulder to shoulder from Inamoto. By the way, Zikostra is going to come on and hit. Check this out. He's going to replace Tomoyuki Doi.
Yeah, you know, I think why not? You know, he hasn't done the business today.
No.
You've got to make those hard decisions as a coach.
It's not often that happens. But Doi's just not been in the game at all. And this is only the that's put out of play by Kanori's all the way back there. Excellent work. Nakamura's on the ground, but yeah, that change is going to be Shafi Suhaimi replaces Nakudin Yunus. And it's going to be Tomoyuki Doi who goes off. He's not had much of a game. Can't even say a bad game. It's been very, very anonymous. It's only the second time this season he has been substituted. Only the 13th time in his career that he's come off the pitch. That's how rare this happens.
Yeah, and it hasn't been a great evening for Doi, but it's not only him. I don't think the team itself has had a good game. They've been really, really poor.
Yeah, he really hasn't. And I think could that be an indication for you, as we see Nakamura, that he knows Nur Ali that that's it really, isn't it? 5 minutes to go, 2 goals down.
Yeah. And Nakamura comes away, it's just limping slightly. I don't think it's a huge problem for them. Arya Igami comes in, and that allows Joe Chu to come inside in the Nakamura position.
Zika Stroa will be on that forward roll. Feels like he's been around forever, more than 5 years now. Zika Stroa, just 22 years of age. At one time the youngest ever scorer in the Singapore's top flight. Inamoto.
Late challenge there from the youngster Shafi on Inamoto. And he gets a yellow card for his troubles. This was the challenge from Shafi on Inamoto. The cross comes in, and that was the late challenge.
Yeah.
I think the referee was spot on there. An opportunity here to seal the deal. A good angle. And Joel Chu will take this.
Joel's free kick, not the best.
Yeah, just trying to whip it in as hard as possible.
Iqbal. Taniguchi, we are approaching consolation goal territory. Well, probably already past that, to be honest. But Shasi, telling statement from you. Shafi's cross comes in. That this might be the most ineffective, the worst, you said, that you've seen Geylang in a half?
Yeah,
in a while?
Yeah, I think so as well. You know, I don't think they've really troubled the BG side, especially in the second half. The first half was not too bad. They obviously made those mistakes at the back, but as an attacking unit, I think they haven't really shown enough to get back into this game, shown urgency or even quality.
Well, another big name is about to get yanked off as well. And that is Roya Taniguchi. Down on the ground there, say Kanori.
And Shafi there has got to be careful. Try not to be silly here. You just come on. You don't want to get a second yellow card.
It's been very clumsy. So changes to be made. Roya Taniguchi is off. So both Taniguchi and Doi are off, and it's Ryan Noor, the 19-year-old, who comes on. And Yasser Hanapi replaces Seya Kunori of BG Tampines Rovers. We're only down for about 3 minutes of added time, by the way. Slatkovic, they're just going to go through these motions now. The last few minutes, Shasi, it's been a very good BG Tampines Rovers performance today, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what they need. Get those wins, get it over and done with, and that's the thing that they can control. That is their performance and their results. And apart from that, just gotta wait and see what the Sailors do in their game.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we were still talking about keeping the fight for second place alive, certainly make things interesting for the moment in the title race. Lion City Sailors will be in action. On Sunday against Young Lions, a game in which you'd think they would certainly fancy their chances. There's Ryan. Now Bescourt. Zikos Chua. Had the 3 minutes. much more will the referee play? Shakir. Shafi. Still fighting hard here, Milos Zlatkovic. That goes against Shafi. He's not had a particularly memorable day so far.
I think
little cameo.
Yeah, I think that was unlucky. I thought the foul was against Zlatkovic. It doesn't matter anyway.
Well, it's a fine performance from BG Tampines Rovers. Remember, they have to win pretty much every single game and hope Lion City Sailors slip up. So they've done their part this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good statement, really. You know, I think they've been really solid throughout the night. Good performances, defensively really, really solid. But most importantly, they've gotten those goals to beat Geylang here.
Yeah, it's been very, very good. The goals coming in from Milos Zlatkovic early on, Itsuki Inamoto and Seiya Kanori. Only one today. A good one, though, from Shakir Hamza. The bragging rights will go to the Far East, and they'll be black and yellow in colour. It ends here at Jalan Besar Stadium. BG Tampines Rovers 3, Geylang International 1. We'll head back to the studio with Colette Wong and Rich Roshan Rai.
Yeah, great stuff. Massive thanks to Shazad Haq and Shasi Kumar in the commentary booth. 3-1 the final score. Tampines Rovers with their 4th straight victory. The comeback that Geylang International was hoping to put together in the second half, Roshan, didn't quite transpire, did it?
Yeah, really disappointing second half from Geylang International. Noor Ali tried to make the changes with Iqbal and Naufal coming on, but there weren't changes that really had any sort of impact. So from Geylang's perspective, really disappointing the performance in that second 45. BG Tampines controlled things brilliantly. I thought, you know, what they did with possession was they kept it. They kept Geylang chasing and they slowed down the tempo when they needed to. We've seen this from BG Tampines quite a bit this season. Very mature in how they see off games. We often talk about managing matches, and that's exactly what they did again this evening.
The Eagles had plenty of chances, I have to say, in that first half, even if they were down 3-1 by half-time. Why were they not able to replicate that in the second?
Yeah, great question. I think a part of it is, as I said, the way BG Tampines approached it was to really take the sting and the tempo out of the game with their possession play. So they're a side who are very comfortable with the ball at their feet. They can play it sideways, backwards, still maintain control of the tempo. And that makes it very difficult for Geylang then to go out and chase. And constantly you're looking to try and get the ball back from BG Tampines in that sense. That takes out a lot of energy, and it can be very frustrating if you're not sort of pressing together and it's not coordinated to try and close down and win it back. And then when Geylang did have it, BG Tampines, to their credit, were very organized defensively. Yeah. They were happy to sit back a bit more, had that compact shape, and Geylang found it difficult to then play through the lines and find Taniguchi in open spaces, in behind the opposition midfield in that second half. And also, just the game went, I said at halftime, the game state is such that BG Tampines at times will be quite happy to just sit in a little bit more. So it wasn't as open as it was in the first 45 minutes. Yeah, well, speaking of the first 45 minutes and just how open it was, we've got some brilliant highlights to show you here. 4 goals scored in the opening 45, the first one coming in just the second minute from this free kick. And what a wonderful goal this was by Milos Zlatkovic. Yeah, lovely goal. Nice delivery that from Faris Ramli, but it is, as it's curling into the area, a little bit behind Milos Zlatkovic. So you look at his position and he has to go back towards where the ball's going to land on his head, and he has to generate all that power and direction. Technically, that is a superb header. Gets up well, good contact on the head, and then heads it down into the ground and into the corner. Difficult for the goalkeeper to do anything with that. Oh, this was, I'm not sure if it's the build-up to the second goal. No, I don't think it is. It is the build-up to the second goal. Faris Ramli there,
creating that one for Inamoto, and he just guides it in past the keeper.
Lovely. Nice control finish from Inamoto. It's good to see him starting to get into a run of games where he's scoring goals for BG Tampines, coming in as Kupitovic's replacement. Of course, two very different players, but they play a little bit of a different way now without that centre forward in Boris Kupitovic. You can see with Konori and Inamoto, they've got a little bit more flexibility in their positions, and they just swap positions there. But lovely move from BG Tampines. Good finish from Inamoto, getting another goal. And then this was great from Shake Hamza. So score his 5th of the season. You asked me in the first half, what was he doing there?
Yeah.
Again, fantastic, because, you know, normally he'd probably be out wide, but you can see it's Bezakor who's holding with, and that's a signal for Shake to go and occupy more of a central position. Lovely first touch to take it away from Shuya Yamashita. And then he still has so much to do here, because he's got to take another touch, make sure it's within his sort of that range, that distance where he can apply a nice finish in the end.
Yeah, they were so creative in that first half. Geylang International were, except for a few mistakes at the back, and this was the biggest of them all by Tezuka, leading to this one, a goal by Seiya Konori.
Yeah, this turned out to be the killer, really. And so close to half-time as well. I think if they'd gone into the break with just that goal deficit, 2-1 down, then there might have been a bit more hope for them in the second half, or at least a bit more of that spirit. Big mistake here from a player that you don't expect that sort of thing from Tezuka. Konori, credit to him, you know, good turn of pace and a nice finish in the end.
You know, we were listening to the pre-match interviews, and Noor Ali was talking about the fact that they haven't had a very good start to 2025, and he was hoping that they could start building some momentum starting with this match. But as we can see from these full-time stats, I mean, they had a wonderful first half, albeit they were down 3-1, but just void of ideas in that second half, and you're just wondering, will this momentum come back in the final 6 games for them?
Yeah, you'd hope so. I mean, the good thing from Geylang's perspective is that they're not going to be facing BG Tampines, you know, anymore in that run. So they've got sides that will be, you know, weaker opposition in that sense, that they'll be coming up against. So hopefully for them, having said that, it's not like they've done too well in 2025 against weaker opposition as well, you know. So, but hopefully there's something that they can just look to try and turn around. Every match is another opportunity to try and make a change.
Yes.
You've got to have that mentality, because once you start thinking, oh, we're on this terrible run of losing matches, then, you know, it's very difficult to dig yourself out of it, right? So you need to constantly try and feed that message to the players, and the players themselves have got to believe that this one is done. You know, we tried, it wasn't good enough. Let's look towards the next one and try and get ourselves out of this little bit of a rut that we're in. So from their perspective, hopefully they'll be able to do that. If they can still finish in third, I think it'll still be a good season for Geylang.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're in a little bit of a slump at the moment. 3 defeats now for Geylang International. On the flip side, for BG Tampines Rovers, they're on quite a fine run, and they'll have an eye on the Lion City Sailors up ahead in the table.
Yes. I mean, it makes things a little bit more interesting when you look at the standings and what it means, this result means. Okay, Lion City Sailors still have 2 games in hand, and you expect them to win those. But again, that's sort of counting your chickens in a sense, right? Yeah. So what matters now is points on the board. Yeah. And points on the board are 54 points for BG Tampines. Right. Second place, I think it's wrapped up, 10 points the difference. And it's now 4 points the difference between themselves and the Lion City Sailors. So what they've essentially done is that they've said to the Sailors, we've done our part here. This evening. Now you have to go on and win your game. Yeah. You know, we're going to keep chasing, and that's all they can really do throughout the rest of the season. Win their games, try and keep up that pressure, and see what happens in the end. Maybe things turn, maybe things change for them, and who knows? Maybe it comes down to the final day. I mean, realistically speaking, I still think the Lion City Sailors are in a great position here. Yeah, well, as they say, it's not over till it's over. And in fact, match week 29 just kicking off. As you can see, a 3-1 victory for BG Tampines over Geylang International, the game that we have just seen. Tomorrow, Hougang will host Albirex Niigata. Balestier Khalsa will take on Tanjong Pagar United. Both those games happening tomorrow, kicking off at 6 p.m. And rounding off match week 29, we've got the Lion City Sailors, top of the league, and they will be traveling to the Jalan Besar Stadium to take on the Young Lions. So still plenty of entertainment, lots of football action to look forward to here on the Singapore Premier League. Match week 29 continues with 2 great matches tomorrow, but it is
done and dusted for us here tonight. On behalf of Rish Roshan Rai, I'm Colette Wong. Thank you so much for tuning in for this what was a brilliant, good game of football between BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International. Plenty more action coming up tomorrow and on Sunday. Till then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.